Good afternoon and welcome back. We have covered manufacturing, we have covered service sector, and one of the most important sector that we are going to focus on in this particular session. We have very eminent speaker with us, Sri Siraj Hussain, former Secretary Agriculture, Government of India, and Senior Visiting Fellow, India Council for Research on International Economics Relations. And the topic would be Indian agriculture sector of the farmers, by the farmers and for the farmers. The session will be moderated by Mr. Jayanto Chakraborty, Chairperson, Agriculture and Rural Development Committee, the Bengal Chamber, and Senior General Manager, Indophil Industries Limited. Over to Mr. Chakraborty, sir. I would request you to take the session forward from here.
Thank you, Arno, for giving me the opportunity. And hearty welcome to Mr. Siraj Hussain for these sessions. It's really a privilege to interact with you and to listen your ideas, thoughts on the topic of today's in the economic conclave, actually. I think nobody better than Mr. Hussain could explain the agriculture with your broad and long-term experience in these subjects and your continued passion for these subjects. I think it is a really entire audience, including me, are extremely grateful to have you in this panel also. I think in this conclave, I think without agriculture, I think we cannot think about economic conclave. And being the macroeconomics, agriculture is the pillar of the subject actually. And the subject which keeps engaged 58% populations of the country for their livelihood. I think none other than agriculture could be so important in the perspective of a national economy of India in particular. And when we speak about quality of life of people, I think here also again, the mass people stays in the rural areas also. So they remain at the center of the discussions also. And we also discuss about sustainable, responsible agriculture also. So I think this is a opportunity for us to hear from you. And we are shifting from production-driven to demand-driven agriculture of late. That is also an opportunity for us to hear from you also. So I think we have a lot of things to learn from you, Mr. Hussain. So before we go further, I think we like to listen from you, your observations and your directions for the way forward for Indian agriculture on the content of the topic also. So Mr. Hussain, please.
Thank you, Mr. Jayanto Chakraborty. Good afternoon, everyone. I am thankful to the Bengal Chamber for inviting me to address your members and your guests. I am somewhat familiar with the functioning of the business chambers because I am an advisor food processing to FICCI. I've been there for about 4 years. Unfortunately, in the last 2 years, due to the pandemic, physical meetings have not been possible. So FICCI has also been, working on in the online mode, which is suboptimal. Now, I must say that Bengal in the national media gets a rather poor coverage, and for a variety of reasons, some justified, mostly unjustified. People think as if Bengal is a laggard and it is the government of Bengal which is responsible for keeping it backward, etc., etc. Now, we know that in the decade of 2000, that is 1991 to 2000, the Bengal economy was growing faster than the national economy at about 5.5% compared to the national GDP growth of 4.6%. However, after that, since 2000, Bengal economy has been growing slower than the national economy. There would be various reasons for that, and you would know it better than me. But as far as agriculture is concerned, the situation is rather reverse, and many would say surprising, because we find that in the agriculture sector, the growth of West Bengal has generally been higher than the growth of Indian agriculture. So if we take the state domestic product at constant prices, we find that 1994 to 2000, Bengal was faster. Then 2000 to 2010, Bengal agriculture grew at 2.4% against 2.1% of Indian agriculture. And then 2012 to 2020, the Bengal agriculture grew at 3.3% compared to 1.6% at the national level. Now, having said this, we must remember that the Bengal agriculture is saddled with very, very small farms. Now, the average farm size in Punjab was more than 3 hectares, while in Bengal it was less than 0.5 hectares. So obviously, there are just too many Bengal farmers who are dependent on agriculture, and due to variety of reasons, many of them relating to marketing problems of West Bengal, the Bengal farmers have not been doing very well because they were not able to realize a better price for farmers. Now, I have seen the West Bengal food and agriculture sector from some close quarters. I was CMD of Food Corporation of India. I visited various parts of West Bengal, and I've seen that the efforts which have been made by other eastern states like Odisha, Chhattisgarh, and Madhya Pradesh, even though it is not an eastern state, Madhya Pradesh, the efforts made by these states to secure a fair price for farmers are commendable. And as a result of that, the farmers of Odisha and Chhattisgarh, the paddy farmers, are able to sell their paddy to the government agencies at MSP. Similar situation exists in Madhya Pradesh. But in West Bengal, that kind of effort is lacking. Now, one reason is that the West Bengal Civil Supplies Corporation has been a weak state entity. And I do not know why the state governments did not make sufficient effort to make West Bengal Civil Supplies Corporation and West Bengal Cooperative Marketing Federation into strong entities. Because for setting up a procurement infrastructure, you need an apex state level body, which is well funded, which is efficient, and which is manned by professionals who have a sufficiently long tenure. And therefore, what we need is administrative infrastructure coupled with financial muscle power. Then only the marketing situation can improve. Now, having said this, we know that even in West Bengal, the farmers have diversified from paddy to other crops. I have visited some farms near Kolkata where the farmers are growing potato, which is sold by them as seed, and also which is sold by them to the potato chip manufacturing companies. So the farmers have taken initiative at their level, but what we need is much more than what has been done so far in the state of West Bengal. Now, in the last 1 year, since June of 2020, we have seen the entire country debating the 3 farm laws. And one of the argument was that this is an agitation which is spearheaded by the farmers of Punjab, Haryana, and Western UP. So there is some merit in this argument, but the reason is that the state governments of some eastern states like West Bengal and Bihar have still not been able to set up a marketing structure which will get a fair price for the produce of the farmers. As a result of which, the farmers have never experienced the taste of MSP, and this has resulted in their level of expectation being low. Also, unfortunately, we find that politics plays its own role, and for about 2-3 years, we have seen that West Bengal was not participating in PM Kisan, as a result of which the farmers of West Bengal could not get the money from the center. That 6,000 rupees which they year. So there are enormous difficulties in getting a better income for farmers. The recently released situation assessment survey also shows that West Bengal farmers earn a lower income than the farmers of other states. And we find that, between 2006 to 2014, there was enormous growth in construction sector and services sector, as a result of which a large number of agricultural households moved out of farming to construction and so in the longer run, what we need, as I keep saying and writing, the solution to the problems of agriculture, ironically, lies outside agriculture, which means that sufficient jobs have to be created outside agriculture. The households which are dependent on agriculture have to be trained, have to be skilled in other operations, and then only the number of people who are dependent on agriculture and can come down. Now, lastly, one very important point of debate, I do not know if Bengal Chamber has included that in the agenda, is the comparison with Bangladesh. So why is it, and Mr. Kaushik Basu, Professor Kaushik Basu and others keep writing about it. Ironically, in my office in ICRIER, it is an economic think tank, and most of my colleagues are women and they are brilliant economists. So the West Bengal economy may not be growing very fast, but you are producing brilliant economists who write so well, who analyze so well, and whose contribution is unmatched. What we need is, all the time a comparison with Bangladesh. Of course, on human development indicators, West Bengal is not that bad, but on economic indicators, West Bengal has not been able to produce the kind of jobs that Bangladesh has been able to do. So I'll stop there, and then maybe we will have a discussion which will be moderated by Mr. Jayant Chakravarti.
Thank you, Mr. Hussain, for the great explanations of the present state of affairs and how we should approach, and the comparisons also. We have few things in continuation to your topic of MSP. By the virtue of MSP of the cereals and associated, we are now self-sufficient in the grains. So and we are importing a huge amount of, you can say, oil seeds and others. So do you think that the MSPs on the oil seeds would be helpful in better farm income, and it will reduce our imports from the countries also? Do you think this is you are muted, sir?
The answer is yes, but there are two issues which we should remember. The first is that the research in the agricultural system has been largely focused in the last 4 or 5 decades on wheat and rice. The entire ICAR system was focused on that. As a result of that, so many new varieties, better yielding varieties, pest-resistant varieties have come, that the yield of wheat and rice in Northwest India and even in Eastern India is now in excess of 4 to 5 tons per hectare. That is not the case in case of pulses and oilseeds. In case of oilseeds, the yields are at best about a ton per hectare. So you take the income of farmers, supposing of, whatever the MSP, obviously MSP cannot be totally dealing to the global prices. Now, there is a role for MSP, no doubt, in fixing a benchmark price, provided the government is able to procure that. But at the same time, there is a role for science and research. The research has to deliver better productivity of pulses and oilseeds so that the farmer's income does not suffer. Now, I personally do not that the government will be able or will like to replicate the experience of procurement of wheat and rice for even pulses and oilseeds, because the government is saddled with huge stocks of wheat and rice, and it is a very expensive proposition. So to sum up, what we need in case of pulses and oilseeds is more research, better varieties, better linkage to the market. The ultimate point to be noted, which your members will understand very easily, is that the landed price of edible oils should not be less than the MSP which is available
Yeah.
to
Yeah. Right. And regarding, our focus is always at the farmers and their income also. You see, government of India, mostly central, be it state, also have tried and still trying through fertilizer subsidy, through electricity subsidy, through agri input subsidy, farm waiver scheme, MSP, but still the farmers' income is remain a challenge. So, is there any further way forward you are looking for it that really will help the farmers from the income perspective also, because they are totally getting free, but still they are not getting the remunerations. So how this gap is still there? What is your comment, sir?
Yes. Now, here I would like to point out that agriculture, even in the most developed countries, is not very remunerative to farmers. And therefore, even US and EU, Australia, not New Zealand, have to give huge subsidies to their agriculture so that farmers continue to produce. Now, there are a variety of reasons for that. Global situation, demand, supply, this, that, and the other. I'm not going into that. As far as Indian situation is concerned, the economists have long been arguing that there is a need to rationalize the subsidies, target them better. But somehow we have not been able to find a method to directly deliver the subsidies. And one reason which would appeal to the members of West Bengal is the tenancy. Now, since tenancy of agricultural land is not recorded, it is not possible to directly deliver the subsidy to the person who is actually farming. It will go PM Kisan. What is happening? No, this point is not highlighted enough by the media. In PM Kisan, the grant of rupees 6,000 per annum is going to the landholder.
Yeah.
Going to the person who is actually cultivating. So in case of subsidies, that is the problem. And secondly, it would be very interesting. I will be writing about it in a while. Even during the current assembly elections, states are promising free electricity. So there is no political consensus that free electricity is bad for underground water. It is depleting water table. So on the one hand, the same government which would bring, reforms and which would talk of reforms, same political party will promise free when it is facing elections.
I think this is really very contradictory to each other. There is another in the budget. For last two budgets, we are hearing about natural farming from the Finance Ministry and ICR also. But to the common farmers or to the people, do you think that natural farming is tested one which could sustain the production level of the country and food security would be maintained by following natural farming? Would it not be a challenge in the for the sustainable for the security of the nations from the food perspective? I think your you are on mute, sir.
Sorry.
Yes. Should I repeat it, sir, once again?
Yeah, I didn't get it. Yeah.
We in the budget, we are promoting, allocating funds for the natural farming in the Indian agriculture also. Finance Ministry has recently told also for the last 2 years budget also. But is natural farming is tested by the ICR from the productivity point of view? Would it be a challenge to the food security of the nations or not? So how do you foresee, in one side, we need 305 million tons of foods for the nation to feed. In one side, we are telling it should be natural farming. Would it be a contradictory to each other, or it will be a challenge for the future food security also? What is your comment, sir?
Okay. I think so-called non-chemical farming, which is also known by different names, zero-based natural farming,
Yeah.
natural farming, etc., Al-Shaker model and things, is still in experimental stage. And Andhra Pradesh has the largest area under natural farming, and they claim that it is quite successful. But so far, ICAR has not, come up with a convincing and scientific evaluation of the success. In Andhra Pradesh, the kind of ideas which are being promoted are very labor intensive, and it may not be very easy to implement those ideas in other states like Punjab and Haryana. So I think what needs to happen is to continue the experimentation, especially in ecologically fragile areas. So, for example, the hilly areas of West Bengal, Darjeeling, Sikkim, etc., northeastern states, where in any case the consumption of fertilizers is low, the consumption of pesticides is low. There we need to promote it more aggressively, and we need to provide better marketing opportunities. What happens is that in our country, the organic produce does not really secure a higher price in most cases. And people also do not have faith in organic certification. So to sum up, I would say that it is a good idea to promote it. But let us begin in areas where the fertilizer consumption is low, prove the concept, and then move to other areas and other crops.
Sir, one last questions to you. We have reached almost at the end of the session. One thing is that we say small and marginal farmer contributes more than 86%, and in West Bengal particularly is more than 94% also. But always, do you agree that the small farmer is a challenge to the agriculture, or it could be other way around, that when agriculture could be translated, because in the smaller the area, the care and the stewardship could be managed better. So how is you take it? Because overnight we could not change it to the big farming plot in West Bengal or in Eastern India also. So what would be your recommendation so that our small farmer could be benefited from your guidance or any advice, sir?
The experience from China shows that the productivity of small farms is not less than the productivity of bigger farms. So as far as the consensus among the economists is concerned, we can say that small farms are not a handicap. However, my personal view is that very small and fragmented farms in the Indian conditions, where these farmers are just at the subsistence level, they are not able to afford any better quality of seed or better irrigation facilities, etc. So it is a handicap. That is why the government has been very aggressively promoting the FPOs. But what needs to happen at the government level is more confidence in instruments like futures. What happens is that on one hand, we keep talking of marketing reforms, this law, that law, all India market and things. And on the other hand, whenever there is slightest hint of inflation, we ban the stocking. And from time to time, I've written about it with the example of West Bengal that unfortunately many a times the state governments also impose limits on movement of food items. So for example, recently also some state restricted the movement of potato from UP to Andhra Pradesh. Yeah. But at one point of time, West Bengal had prevented potato to move from West Bengal to Odisha. So this needs to change. And the small farmers are the sufferers. So FPOs is a very good idea. That is also in the initial stages. But personally, I am not very fascinated by ever increasing number of small farmers.
Thank you, sir. I think it is a wonderful sessions with you. I think 30 minutes with you is simply, it is not enough. But still, the way you have summarized all the queries, it is a big learning for all the audience. And heartfelt thanks to you from Bengal Chamber of Commerce and Industries for your kind presence. And we are looking forward for your continued patronage and your deliberations in upcoming program also. Sincere thanks to you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jayanta Chakraborty and Sri Siraj Hussain, sir. With this, we conclude this session, and we are thankful to all the audience and also to our sponsor, gold sponsor NMDC Limited, silver sponsors Bandhan Bank Limited, Indorama India Private Limited, Price Waterhouse Coopers Private Limited, Tata Steel Downstream Products Limited, associate sponsors Exide Industries Limited, Oldia Water, Tax Connect Advisory Services LLP. With this, we conclude this session. We'll be back in the next session in just 2-3 minutes. Stay tuned with us.